Hello and welcome to another Westworld recap review. This is for Season 2, Episode 8. So the opening scene with the men in black crawling to the river, still alive, but only just. Only to be saved by Aki. So I'm going to call him Aki, it's much easier, the abbreviated version. So the man in black gets taken back to the Ghost Nation camp, where we see Maeve's daughter, who is also still alive and saved by the Ghost Nation. Then we get Aki explaining to Maeve's daughter his entire backstory. Also, this entire story is ultimately for Maeve, who is watching the entire thing through her daughter's eyes, which was a really nice reveal at the end. I really did appreciate that. So now on to the backstory. So how initially he remembers how peaceful his people were and how everything was so perfect until he found Arnold's corpse, which sparked a voice in his head, you could say. So then things changed. So they changed his narrative. He was put into a loop of violence and destruction. He felt something was wrong as well, wrong with his behavior. Eventually he came across Logan. So Logan told him, "This is the wrong world. Where is the door? This is all an illusion." Which at the time was rambling of a madman, but it really did reaffirm the uncertainty within Aki that something is wrong here. Then he finds Koha, who doesn't seem to remember him, but Aki goes back and manages to break his loop as he wants to try and pursue Logan to get more information. Ultimately leads Aki onto the valley beyond, so the Man in Black's secret, which is even more of an eye-opener. So he thinks he's found a doorway. So we see Aki slowly gaining more nuggets of information as he goes along. He eventually kidnaps Koha and manages to spark her memory as well, only to lose her all over again, but this time to the park's maintenance. And we find out as well she's actually put into cold storage. So the other people within this group, the Ghost Nation, they start to wake up. So they say as well that the people are being replaced with ghosts, which I thought was a fantastic way to describe what they witness. They have no real way to comprehend the real situation they're in at that point. So I thought that was a really good description. Then we see Aki figures out a way to find Koha, so by dying. So he lets a guest kill him. Then we hear a conversation about him as well by the maintenance crew. So 9 years without an update. The staff are impressed that he's survived that long without dying, and he deserves a second look. But they're just told by their management or the boss, just update him. Then we realise he wasn't asleep after all. So he goes and he finds Koha, but he can't save her. But at that point, it is an eye-opening moment of the bigger picture, the bigger reality that he's in. So I thought as well, when Aki was in that cold storage there, the song Heart-Shaped Box was an amazing track, which I thought really did add a lot of emotion to that scene. I thought it was very well chosen, that song, for that scenario. So we see, after accepting her fate, that he decides to dedicate his life to sharing the symbol of the maze around, trying to wake everyone up, trying to protect everyone, protect his people, protect others as well, protect Maeve and her daughter. And so we finally get, a clue of who's been leaving those markings everywhere, the tattoos in the caps of the scalpings, in the sand around Maeve's house. It's all been the Ghost Nation. So then we see a bit later on when Aki meets his maker, so he meets Ford. Now Ford says he's been watching him. So it seems at that point that Ford has already planned his narrative, all planned out far in advance as well. And some interesting lines I thought that came out of that conversation, that Aki said, "I gave myself a new drive to spread the truth," and just saying the many worlds, we're living in a wrong one, just repeating what Logan said to him, find the door. So just confirming how long Ford has really been planning the narrative here, around the narrative and around his death as well. I thought it was very interesting, the line of, "When the Deathbringer returns for me, gather your people, lead them to a new world," which is interesting if you've seen the trailer for next week. If you want to look at that, you can see that there is a bit of a conflict there. Then to wrap up Aki's story, we see the Man in Black's daughter turn up to save him. And it's interesting there, they both want to bring him pain for what he's done to everybody. And his daughter's plan, I believe, will be bring him pain by keeping him alive, making him face his demons in life. Now quickly on to some other characters we saw, which was Maeve and Lee Sizemore. So we see Lee trying to repair her, but the tech that he's handed her over to is more concerned with getting the information to Charlotte. So we see Lee as well, very touching scene where He really reflects on Maeve and the guilt after the realization as what he has put her through with the different stories that she's had, the different character she's been, the loss of her daughter. Very touching scene there. Is Maeve really dead? Is she going to die? It doesn't look good for her, I have to say. The scene when she's almost saying goodbye to Aki and look after my daughter, that really does suggest that's the end of her. But same thing, the trailer for next week does have her in it, but it has her in the same state of near death. So I don't know, we could be seeing the end of her next week, but on the other side, we could see, hopefully, Lee runs off and finds possibly Sylvester and Lutz there so they can patch her back up. Now, some quick points to add to the overall Westworld story from this episode. So just more pieces to the puzzle. So what actually happened to Logan? So after William sent him off naked on horseback, riding out to the sunset, we see him turned up as a drug addict in the future. So really he lost his mind. I mean, we knew he was on the verge of it anyway, but just being dehydrated with the heat in the desert and all alone like that, he seems to have just pushed him way over the edge. So the maze symbols, which I mentioned before, so we've seen them various times through Season 1 and Season 2, always been very mysterious, who's putting them there, and now it seems to be, it's probably always been the Ghost Nation. And we had a really good look as well at the valley beyond. What is in that valley? You'll have to wait till my next theories video for my thoughts on that, but you can chuck your theories below in the comment section, always keen to read them. So I'll just leave this recap here, but I guess final thoughts on this episode. I thought the whole story around Aki and the Ghost Nation would make a fantastic mystery movie. For a lot of the episode, I felt like I was watching something very different. It felt like I was watching a movie, a mysterious movie on the Ghost Nation with an unknown force who is capturing their people, kidnapping, replacing them with someone else. Normally I find an episode like this, which is far from the main story, as a filler, or as a distraction from the main story itself, but I really did enjoy this episode, as almost a standalone story. Whilst the story didn't really add much to the Westworld plot, it really did add a lot to Westworld itself. It breathed life into these characters that have been overlooked from the start. So it really was a top-notch episode that I really did enjoy. So I'll leave this little recap review here. So let me know your feedback below. As I say, you want my theories on the Valley Beyond with the pictures we have in this episode. Subscribe for future updates around that. I'll try and cover that in the next day or two. But until next time, this is Mish, and I'll see you later.